All right, we're going to go to the phone. Scott in Wisconsin. Aloha, Scott. Welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey there, Mike. How you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while, big guy.
Well, I'm doing okay. How about yourself? Was Santa good to you?
Well, I've been hanging down incognito raising my littlest one, and he's doing real fine, and I'm thankful for that. You know, Mike, I wanted to speak to you a little bit, and then just bear with me about how serious this matter is with this situation over in the Middle East. It is a dynamite stick ready to blow, whether we like it or not. You know, why were we in Iraq? Well, you know, my philosophy...
Because Israel told us to.
Well, exactly, but we got the airspace now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at the Israel fighter jets, they would have had to refuel in the air over an armed Iraq shooting at them. Now they can take off from Iraq without refueling to hit Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the dangerous part is, did you hear the leader for Russia about a month ago? He spoke. He said, if you put your defensive shield along our borders, we have all our missiles on the U.S. Army. People, you better take serious matter to that, okay? Because in Iran, there's a nuclear facility, I think it's called Bushehr. Russia is part of that nuclear facility.
Yeah, they built it.
Michael, I listened to right, and that's correct. I already listened to the top commander Russian dude. Now, I didn't understand what he was saying, but they were translating. They said, if you hit that nuclear facility, it's on. So this is a very dangerous situation, and people better wake up and get prepared, because isn't it a coincidence that they took all our troops out of Iraq? And I'll end it with this. You know, today, our great George Little, was saying that U.S. warns Iran not to block Strait of Hormuz. Now, people better understand, you think gas is high for a gallon right now? If they shut the Hormuz down, you can forget about driving in the United States of America and around the world. Thank you, Mike, for taking my call, and you keep preaching that fire and brimstone, brother.
I certainly will. Thanks an awful lot. Yeah, there is no question that this continuing push for the war in Iran, you know, they're just looking for an excuse. They're looking for any excuse that the American people will go along with to pour more money and more of our children's blood all over the Middle East. And there are a lot of reasons for these wars. There's no wars ever fought for just one reason. It's an overlapping series of agendas. This group wants oil. This other group wants to crush the state bank. This other group over here wants access to resources. This other group over here is listening to the voices in their head and thinking it's God. And in the case of Israel, the overall plan is to keep smashing big Arab nations into little Arab nations, so that Israel won't feel threatened by them for all the, retaliation for all the things Israel has done to them over the last 60 years, including smashing large Arab nations into small Arab nations. And Iran is the last one. Israel's concern is not nuclear weapons by Iran, because Iran isn't building any. The real concern is that Iran could become the center for an Arab world alliance that Israel sees as a threat to their going on to grab other pieces of other people's country. Israel still wants Eretz Israel. They want it all. They want the Israel that's described in the Bible. And Iran is in their way. And that is why your children are going to be blown to bloody bits to bring about Old Testament prophecy for Israel. That's basically what's going on over there. And it is a very dangerous situation. Russia has already said they will defend Iran. The power station at Bushehr is, until Iran finishes paying for it, Russian state property. There are Russian nationals, technicians, on that site helping to get that power station up and running. And if they are killed in an Israeli attack, then that is an attack by Israel on Russian nationals. And I don't think Russia's government is going to be quite as sang-froid about it as our government was when American aid workers were shot at and, in one case, killed by Israel in the Mediterranean last year. So it's a very dangerous situation. China has stated flat out they will defend Iran even at the risk of a new world war. Russia and China have been playing Neville Chamberlain long enough. They have come to understand that the United States government is not going to back down. The U.S. government, as long as they are allowed to, will go on invading and conquering and stealing and projecting power. And somebody's going to have to stop them. And that is basically when what is already a small, low-intensity world war is going to get very hot very quickly. Now, the people who are behind this war, they've got their bunkers. They're convinced they're doing God's will. They're going to blow up the entire planet to make that invisible man in the clouds happy. That's how dangerous this situation is. We literally could see our entire world destroyed by people who think they are doing God's will. We'll be back after these commercials. But to get back to the situation on Iran, we're seeing this constant demonization. Iran is bad. Iran is evil. If you don't want to help us go kill Iranians, then you're with the terrorists or whatever else they're saying. We're on the wrong side on this, unfortunately. We, the American people, are in this age's version of the Nazi empire. Just out there lying about countries to invade them. Attack the radio station at Gleiwitz, blame it on Poland, invade Poland. Have Israel blow up the World Trade Towers, blame it on the Muslims, and start invading Muslim countries. All wars are started with lies, without exception. Because the ruler that wants to initiate the war, it's usually a war of conquest, has to lie to his people to get them to go along with it. So now we're getting the lies about Iran. History shows us that since it became an Islamic republic, Iran has not invaded anybody. They defended themselves in the Iran-Iraq war that was instigated by the United States through Iraq to try and reconquer Iran and put it back under control of an American puppet like the Shah. But Iran has been peaceful. They're not the threat. It's Israel and the United States that are invading everybody. So, as you talk to people over this coming holiday, and they start saying, oh, Iran is a threat. Oh, really? We were told Iraq was a threat, but they didn't have any weapons of mass destruction. If the government lied to you about Iraq, how can you assume they are telling you the truth about Iran? You know, always go back to that. That's the one that nobody can deny. We were told Iraq had weapons of mass destruction. We were told Iraq could lay waste to our cities with as little as 45 minutes notice. And all of it was a lie. And again, when somebody says Iran's a threat, say, okay, when was the last time Iran invaded another country? And it's a trick question because they haven't for a couple of hundred years. They just mind their own business. Now, as you heard on the news, everybody's all getting in a huff over the Hormuz Strait and the possibility that Iran would respond to an American attack, whether physical or economic, by blockading the Strait of Hormuz and basically causing havoc with the oil-based economy of the world. The U.S. is acting like Iran has no right to do this, and it would be the provocation justifying an invasion. Of course, from Iran's point of view, the U.S. has no right to go around saying we're going to embargo your oil until you give up your weapons of mass destruction. Because Iran knows they don't actually have any of them. It's just a made-up issue. Iran knows. Israel has ordered the United States government to attack Iran. Iran knows they've got to defend themselves from that coming invasion. They're looking for the best way they can do it. They're not going to sit there and fight the war that U.S. and Israel have already prepared to fight. Iran's looking for other solutions. And we're already starting to see articles from people saying, maybe this oil embargo isn't such a good idea until we actually know that Iran is actually building a nuclear weapon. And so far they aren't. The entire case for war rests on that laptop of death. Meanwhile, the U.S. and Israel are coming up with a list of what they call triggers. They're going to have a list of reasons why, yes, the war is on. We can bomb them. And it's, with the exception of Ron Paul, we're seeing all the Republican candidates lining up to court the Jewish donors and the Jewish-controlled American media. And, of course, the Jewish donors and the Jewish-controlled media are all saying, yeah, you got to kill Iran for us. And that's why they're out there saying, yes, we've got to kill Iran. And the reason they're saying Ron Paul's view on foreign policies are dangerous is because Ron Paul makes sense. There's no reason for us to be going out there and attacking Iran when Iran has done absolutely nothing at all and does not represent a threat to the United States of America. And the rest of the candidates want Ron Paul out of there because, from their point of view, too many people are listening to him. They can't allow an anti-war voice anywhere in the campaign. That's how they're going to hijack the election. When they get rid of all the anti-war, peace, economic responsibility candidates, and there's nothing left but warmongers, then it doesn't matter to the real power players who actually wins the election. They're going to get what they want. War on Iran, paid for in American gold and American blood. Somebody sent in an article confirming what I was pointing out earlier today. Israel is getting ready to repeat cast lead. Now, for those of you who don't remember, on the day that Barack Obama got elected, when nobody was looking, Israel broke a 6-month ceasefire with Hamas, invaded Gaza, attacked, killed 6 Hamas officials. And the next day, Hamas gets up and says, well, I guess the ceasefire is over. And Israel says, aha, Hamas says the ceasefire is over. And they start bombing and everything. And they crank up this major operation called Cast Lead, where they went in, they put white phosphorus all over schools and residences, all of which is a war crime. And Israel's saying, oh, no, we're only using it for creating smoke screens, and that's illegal use. And we're sorry that people's homes were destroyed, but that was not our intent. You can't criticize us because we had good intentions. So now, as I mentioned earlier in the show, there's this story where rockets have been fired from Gaza and sent into Israel, and they hit absolutely nothing. Just dirt. Which usually means the rockets are being fired by Israeli agents provocateurs inside Gaza in order to create an excuse for Israel to attack. And now we've got this article where Israel has basically said they're getting ready to launch a new attack. Attacking Palestine is not a matter of choice. It is necessity for Tel Aviv. We've got to go in and murder all those people because they're very unhappy over the fact that we keep coming in there and murdering those people.